What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 11 of the NFC East Podcast. Joining me here today is Dan, the Eagles fan. And today, we got the Week 10, Top 10, and the trade deadline reaction to all the trades that went down today. I know Dan is very happy with some of the moves that the Eagles made.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it. And honestly, let's just get right into it. We got a lot to talk about today. Oh, we lost Dan for a second. I'm sure he'll be right back, but and I'm sure my face there he is.
We're back.
He's so back. But
We're back.
yeah, we got a lot to cover today. So I say we just dive right into it. Starting off with the trades that the first one to move, always Howie Roseman. He trades, and this was actually before the deadline. I think it was like 2 days before, or it was November 1st, so 3 days before. The Eagles receive Jaire Alexander and a 7th-round pick for a Ravens 6th-round pick. I mean, that is... I get the guy has injury issues, and I don't know if he's, like, not healthy right now. But the Ravens have a cornerback issue, too, and they were willing to move off of this extremely talented veteran cornerback. And you're essentially moving up, like, 30 spots between rounds, like, 7 and 6. I mean, this is just Howie magic at its finest, because it's not like you guys need him to make the playoffs right now. But if you can slowly work him into the team and he can get used to the system and be an impact player come playoff time, that's going to be tremendous for this Eagles team, having him and Quinnen on the boundary. Dan, what's your reaction to this trade? And do you think this got you guys closer to your 2024 form?
Oh my God! Listen, all I gotta say is, listen. Howie just does it, bro. That's just he just makes it happen. And I'm telling you right now, Jaire, and we even forgot the other dude, Michael Carter, the second
player
that came from the Jets, that we also traded for him. And in reality, all that shows to me is that Keely and Adoree Jackson were not the guys. Adoree Jackson, after that first time that he played the Giants, and I saw that effortless tackle he tried to make, just leaning his shoulder. I could have done that. On Wanda, I could have done that, bro. Like, a lot more effort. So, and I would have done it for free. So watching Jaire on the other side of Quinnen gives me that, like, excitement, but also like Michael Carter, because I know Jaire's biggest problem that he's always faced is the big body receivers, i.e. when he played AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, like Puka. It hasn't really gone well for him statistically. But playing with Michael Carter, at least, kind of having that
James
I guess
Bradbury.
you could say, like, that James Bradbury double entendre kind of thing, you know what I mean? So you could really scout it up depending on the scheme or the types of receivers that you're really playing against. Because we already have our one. We just needed the two to solidify depending on the situation that we were in. So I'm believing this dude, he got exactly what we're looking for. And I saw rumors, I don't know if you saw, Scooter, but they're talking about looking to see if they can get Minka. And what gets me,
well, they can't now,
is that this,
unless they cut him. They can't now. It's trade deadline's over.
Like, trade deadline's over. I know there was, like, talks about that.
There was rumors, though. I know, because the Cowboys were in for him as well. And Minka was, like, a hot, like, commodity. As a veteran safety, I think it would make more sense for him to want to join the Eagles, try to win, and the Eagles are, not rebuilding like the Cowboys, so they can kind of get by with older players like Jaire and Minka. Now, if Jaire gets injured at one point and misses a bunch, this is why Green Bay moved on from him. But that's why it's okay if you guys don't kind of fall apart during the regular season. I think that this trade is going to be a massive hit. And the Michael Carter trade, Michael Carter and a 7th-round pick for John Mechie to the Jets, and a 6th-round pick to the Jets. So once again, swapping like 30 spots in the draft. Making these two moves in conjunction is basically you swapped John Mechie for Michael Carter and got Jaire Alexander. Like, it's pretty crazy. Even if it's like backwards or something, like they moved down twice, it's like, I don't care. You know what I mean? This is the 6th and 7th round in Howie Roseman. But this wasn't even the biggest trade, as I know Dan is waiting for me to explain, that the Eagles made. And this was November 3rd. So this was yesterday. Once again, Howie proactive, getting ahead of it. I don't know why more GMs don't do it. If you like a guy, go get him. Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 3rd-round pick. Phillips, another guy, similar situation, uber talented. some injury concerns. He tore his Achilles like 2 years ago. He had a neck injury coming out of college that tanked his draft stock. He was so talented. He would have been like a top 10 pick if it wasn't for that. He's had some success in Miami when he's been healthy. He's been very productive, and he's been their full-time starter. But obviously, if a guy's not available, same thing with Jaire. He's not available, but the Eagles have time to work him in. Dan, what do you think about this?
He tore his Achilles, if I remember correctly, right? Back then, I think that's why he got injured. So it's a little scary, of course, but it's like you said, uber talented. This dude's got the skill set as a pass rusher to be able to be dominant. He had Bradley Chubb on the other side, but when Wilkins was on the Dolphins and Phillips played, dude was active. Dude was all over, and he's a speedster. Like, he could actually get at those Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type quarterbacks that try to run outside the pocket. So to have that on the team, and Nolan Smith just got eligible again to start practicing again. So to have now Smith and Phillips on the other side, because I know Zadarius Smith just retired this year, retired not too long ago. So that shit was, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt my feelings, bro. To retire mid-season is crazy.
That was after the Giants game, wasn't it?
That was after the Giants game, I think.
We hurt you guys.
And it was from him retiring, crazy work. Yeah. From him retiring to then Brandon Graham being back, Nolan Smith being back, and then now we got Phillips on the other side. It's coming together, and I'm not lying to you. I could see this game blowing up for one of these new guys. I
think one of them is going to be a smash hit, and since they're both kind of free, I mean Phillips cost a 3rd-round pick, but he's younger and probably less
more upside.
Probably more upside, and you guys I think need the edge rusher more. So if he doesn't work out, I'd say probably hurt more. But I just think they both, it's the same situation. If you get something out of either of them, these are good moves. And Jalen Phillips could be, I think he's got more talent than Josh Sweat did. So if you were moving on with the intention of doing something like this, I say well played. If you're able to extend him and he stays healthy, this is a good move. And, the Eagles they're taking form again. And when we discuss the top 10, after we go over all these trades, I'm sure this will be taken into account.
Even though I will hold him accountable. Back then, when Fangio left the Dolphins, he did talk shit, saying how Fangio was not that guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He went off and said, "Oh, he was not that guy, pal," and lost his shit and got hype and everything. And what did he say in his first interview when he came back to Philly? I would not want to play with anybody else and yada yada yada. So listen, I respect if you stand on business, okay? But don't flip 180 just because you come to the team, okay? Be like, yeah, we have our differences, but we'll figure it out now that we're back together. I would have respected that a lot more than you coming to the city and being like, oh, yeah, that's my guy. I love him. Motherfucker. Read the tweets. Read the damn tweets.
The receipts.
The receipts. Give me my receipts, bro.
Yes. All right.
And I'm an Eagles fan, and I'll call you out for that shit. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Dan is not going to let Jalen Phillips get away with that, or anyone who was on that Dolphins team, for the matter of fact, because clearly Fangio was not the problem. So that's enough about the Eagles. I'm pretty sure they didn't make any more moves. That should have been all of them. Up next, a little less consequential, we have the Baltimore Ravens trading with the Tennessee Titans. Man, I thought this Titans team was going to get picked apart. But it didn't really end up being them who got picked apart. They trade linebacker Dre'Mont Jones to the Ravens for a conditional 5th-round pick. Kind of lateral. The Ravens defense has had some issues. Figured they need some help next to Roquan Smith. So, having him to be able to rotate, as rare as having, 2 or 3 linebackers out there is nowadays. It's nice to have the depth. You got to be able to stop the run in the playoffs. It's only a 5th-round pick. This Ravens team, how much do they even really need, draft picks, especially that low at this point? So I think it's fair value. Dre'Mont Jones, kind of like a run-defending linebacker, should be helpful. But there was another trade for a linebacker that had much heavier implications, and that is the Dallas Cowboys trading for linebacker Logan Wilson of the Cincinnati Bengals for a 7th-round pick. Now, Logan Wilson has been benched on the Bengals, and it's seemingly a mistake. I mean, Logan Wilson hasn't been an all-pro, but he's been I think he's got Pro Bowl upside. He's a good size linebacker. It seems like he always finds the ball. And the Bengals benched him for 2 linebackers that are grading out as the worst linebackers in the league right now. So I don't know if they intended to do this. But a 7th round pick for a starting linebacker, to me, I get it's like a replaceable position. That seems like good value. This Cowboys defense had to start somewhere. But now they have him, and they have DeMarvin and Overshown coming back. That guy is a beast. He really is. He might be the best player on their defense, except for maybe one of these other moves that they made. But, yeah, having him and Logan Wilson, substantial upgrade from what they've been working with before.
It's kind of upsetting, though, going from the Bengals to the Cowboys, going from the shittiest offense to a shittier.
You're going to the same team.
Offense. Yeah, you're basically going to a similar defense. You're like, you were ass, and now you're even more ass.
Yeah,
it was just like
it's like the Bengals and Cowboys defense would flip flop every week to be like, who's the worst defense? And now Logan Wilson, who was benched on what was like essentially the worst defense, unjustifiably so. Like I said, unless they intended to do this, now gets sent to another defense where he's gonna have to make up for a lot of mistakes. But maybe after we get through the rest of this. It'll also come together more. And for the sake of the episode, I'm going to go a little out of chronological order, or at least how it's listed here on the article, and talk about the other move that the Cowboys made. And that is trading for New York Jets all-pro defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. What did they send to get such an amazing player? Well, they sent a first-round pick in next year's draft, their 2nd round pick in this year's draft, and Mazi Smith. They got rid of Mazi Smith. You better believe that they were trying to get rid of him, because now they have Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Osa Odigizua, who's like that Aaron Donald type of guy. Now they got 3 different types of defensive tackles that they can move around. I was talking with a Cowboys fan today about how they can put Osa on the edge. Maybe they can switch to a 3-4, have those 3 D tackles there. Logan Wilson be the one linebacker, and then have Overshown like hanging off the edge with like another guy. Yeah. I think this gives them a lot of flexibility, adding Wilson and Quinnen Williams. You traded Micah Parsons. It seems like you wanted to take the resources you got from Micah and kind of spread it out across the defense. They have a bunch of cap space available. And you know what? As Joey would, I wish he was here right now, because he would love to explain this.
He would go off about this right here right now.
I did just talk to him about this, and that's the Cowboys fan, by the way. And he was telling me, he was telling both of us about how Micah can't stop the run, and that's part of the problem. So you have $45 million soaked into Micah Parsons on the Packers, where you can stop the run, or at least are okay at it. You can afford to have a pass rusher who's a bit of a liability in the run. But when you're on the Cowboys and nobody else on the defense can make up for it, it just, I sort of understand it. I'm still not saying I would have done it, because you had $40 million like cap space just sitting there until the deadline. Yeah. And I don't even know if they're still going to use it. But this Cowboys team, Jerry said he was going to make some big moves. Clearly, he has made some big moves. Quinnen Williams is probably the 2nd best defensive tackle in the NFL, I would say. Maybe even first.
They got 3 first-round picks for Michael Parsons, did they not?
Yeah, I think they got 2 this year, and then they got 1 the following year, or maybe it was
they got 2
flipped or something like that.
So my whole thing is like, you used 1 of them just for this guy, and now you have still 2 first-round picks with Kenny Clark next to Quinnen Williams. And like I'll give Quinnen Williams probably like I noticed how you just said that he's the best D tackle. You don't give Dexter Lawrence that respect, and I'm not an Eagles fan.
So I say like prime, give me Dexter. Dexter's not like playing up to that right now because he's coming off of that elbow from last year, and he got like sick this year, and he's still getting double teamed. He's still getting the respect from the offenses. Like he's still soaking up the blocks. But last year, he would literally drive through double teams into quarterbacks. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. Because it's not even like Aaron Donald. I mean, Aaron Donald would kind of like slip through that kind of thing. Dexter would literally push them through, like push them back through a double team. He hasn't really been doing that this year. So I go back and forth with Quinnen. I think you know,
Oh, so you're giving me your time. I know this is like a little sidetrack, but now I'm just so curious because
you
like
want to know.
I want to know what is your like top 5 D tackles in the league right here, right
So,
now.
all right. So I said maybe best, by the way. That was why I said maybe, because I do believe is Dexter at number one. I mean, when he's fully healthy, I don't think there's anyone
I'll give that
better
respect. Yeah,
than
like
Dexter.
100%.
I would say number two
Even
is
over
really
even over
tough.
Chris Jones.
Yeah, definitely over Chris Jones because he's better at stopping the run, and he can line up at nose guard. Like nobody else can line up at nose guard the way he can. That's the main benefit. Chris Jones gets put on the edge and stuff. I would say I would put Quinnen Williams at 2 over Chris Jones. First, because Chris Jones is older and regressing. I'm not saying it's like bad or anything, but like he's just not gonna be what he used to be. And Quinnen Williams is also on the Jets. You know what I mean? Like he's on the Jets. He's like the main focus. He doesn't have Steve Spagnuolo calling the defensive plays and stuff. So the fact he's able to produce at the All Pro level, I give it to him. 3, I might say Jeff or a 4 because I'm saying Chris Jones is 3. 4, I'd probably say Jeffrey Simmons on the Titans. He's untouchable for them. They said nobody's allowed to trade for him.
Yeah, no one's allowed to touch him or get him or.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
And then number 5 is a lot tougher. I'm trying to run through the divisions in my head, and I'm trying to pull it up right now. A few names that come to mind that I might say, maybe like Leonard Williams is kind of a defensive tackle, but not really.
Okay.
I don't really want to give it to him. Now that he's in Seattle, he's been really good. But I feel like the Browns have someone that I'm forgetting. Oh wait, that's Steelers.
Yeah, Cam Hayward.
Cam Hayward's kind of a defensive tackle. I would say he's a defensive tackle. He's still like that.
He's a tackle. Yeah, he's a tackle.
They have that guy Keanu Benton, and they also drafted Derek Harmon. That's probably why they had a good day against the Colts, by the way. Let's see, who am I forgetting? I feel
There's
like
definitely a tackle out there that I'm thinking. That
I know
like,
I'm about to spit it out to you.
Danielle Hunter.
Jalen, no! Oh my God, I cannot believe this. I gotta redo this real quick. Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, Carter. I was wondering when you were going to say Carter.
Yeah, no.
I was wondering when you were going to say Carter.
So Jalen Carter's number 3. He's like basically the same guy as Quinnen, I would say, right now, because he's in the Eagles' defense. You gotta remember, and I think Quinnen is a lot more like reliable. I mean, how many defensive tackles have gotten kicked out of a game for spitting on someone? It's just like it's like I don't think that piece of Jalen Carter is going anywhere. I think his whole career he's gonna be a little bit of a head case. So yeah, I put him at 3. I'm putting Chris Jones at 4, just because like I'm projecting like that's what it's gonna be. And then I would say 5 is Jeffrey Simmons, and I would even say
I was gonna let you go because I was gonna say if you didn't even have Carter in your top 5, I was like, my God,
I forgot about him. I did.
Yeah.
He escaped my mind. But that's enough about top 5 defensive tackles. This is the trade reaction show. So let me get back. And so yeah, the Cowboys, a very, very good day for them. Excited to see what they do this offseason to try to improve the team. I know Joey's probably going to want to still talk about this, next time he's back on. But, yeah, it was pretty splash play. I mean, I thought they'd get an edge rusher or something, but I guess they believe in the collection of guys they have there, and they wanted to solidify the core of this defense. And with linebacker and defensive tackle, they've done that. Up next, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Las Vegas Raiders just made a trade right after playing each other in overtime. Which is kind of funny to me. They just had this like vicious overtime game, and now they're like, okay, you want to trade? Yeah, you want to trade now? So what did they do? The Las Vegas Raiders received a 4th and 6th round pick. It's okay. That's a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick. That's kind of a decent amount of stuff. What they get? Jakobi Meyers. Wow. I don't know. I thought really he'd go somewhere else. I would figure that the Jaguars would have been okay with Brian Thomas Jr. We have Travis Hunter coming back.
Where do they see him with that?
Yeah, I mean, Hunter's on IR at the moment. And it's like, I get you might not want to play him on both ways when he comes back. So maybe that's part of this, is they just want to play him on defense. But you still had Dyami Brown, who I think is a pretty solid wide receiver 3. And so I guess now you have BTJ, Jakobi Meyers lining up either on the slot or outside, and then Dyami Brown outside in the 3 wide receiver sets with Meyers in the slot. Probably something like that. do I feel like the Jaguars are like in a better position to solve some of their problems? Maybe a little bit, just because some of the passing game issues have been from, I
feel like T-Law's errors, not even the receivers.
Well,
errors.
the receivers have dropped a fair amount of.
I think BTJ is off this year. I'll give you that.
I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback in the NFL who leads the NFL in dropped passes. So, so it's like he is that guy this year, and if he's not one, he's two or something. So he's that guy, but he's definitely had his issues being inaccurate and just Trevor Lawrence. Just like something about him when I watch him in the NFL, it's just like. It feels like every time he does something really good, it's like an accident. I don't know if that resonates with you. You know what I mean? I mean, think about how he scored. How did he score the game-winning touchdown against the Chiefs? That dude fell down 3 times and then broke 3 tackles to get in there. Like, and I'm not even hating. Like, Trevor Lawrence is on the Jaguars. The Jaguars for a very long time were a very poorly run organization. So, I think Trevor Lawrence.
I was gonna bring up that point too, because I've noticed now it seems like the Jaguars are so like. We want this team to be great. They're very hungry to get the players they need now, which is like, it's kind of cool because it's like I would like to see the Jaguars do something. Like I always like the Jaguars.
I think they're a cool team.
Yeah, I think they're a cool team. I love the uniform, love the logo, love everything about them. Duval, all that shit.
The defense, the defense they had with Blake Bortles back in the day, you know, and now they've got a good defense again. Like they're just a fun team, but. And even Trevor Lawrence. Like, I like Trevor Lawrence. I want him to succeed. And hopefully Jakobi Meyers can help him do that. We knew he was going to leave the Raiders. It was just a question of who. A little sad my Giants didn't get him. But, maybe we don't need a receiver of his age moving forward with Jackson Dart. All right. Moving on to the next trade. This is the biggest trade that occurred this weekend. You thought that Quinnen Williams trade was big? You thought that was impactful? Well, let me tell you something. This trade here between the Indianapolis Colts and the New York Jets caught me and I would say pretty much everyone completely off guard.
Even the person who got traded.
Even the person who got traded was shocked. And we quote, "So, in exchange for a first-round pick this year and a first-round pick next year and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, the New York Jets will trade Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts." So that's right. Bro. Colts are trading away A.D. Mitchell and their next 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. So I would say this is a massive trade, obviously, from just the value and the pieces that are moving. But I think this is an excellent move for this Colts team to beef up this defense so that they don't fall behind, so that other offenses don't get ahead in that game script where they can force Daniel Jones into having a performance like he did last week. Sauce is an uber talented guy. We know how good he is, and he's been spending his career on the Jets. Jets fans, I love you, by the way. God bless you guys for what you guys have to go through.
For real, bro.
I really do feel bad.
On the daily, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Woody Johnson's a terrible owner. But yeah, Sauce is going to be on a solid team. I mean, the Colts aren't the best run organization in the NFL, but I'd say they're average to above average. I'd say they do a fair job of drafting, and look at they picked up Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen's a good coach. Team's playing amazing right now. Adding Sauce to that's going for the Super Bowl right there. And I don't see this as like the Commanders from last year where it's like this breakout random team, this ragtag bunch of veterans. Like this Colts team, they got the offensive line. They got 2 pass rushers in what's his name? Laiatu Latu and Kwity Paye, but I feel like there's another guy I'm forgetting. But they have DeForest Buckner on the inside. The defense, they made all those additions in the secondary this offseason.
Kwity Paye is still there.
Yeah, Kwity Paye. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's somebody else.
I used to be a big fan. I just haven't heard anything from him lately.
Yeah, so now their defense is going to have some serious ceiling. And I have a feeling this is going to pan out well. This team is going to be in the playoffs, and I think Sauce has never played a playoff game.
This move, do you think this move is the move we're going to talk about? If this is what leads the Colts to win, maybe the first round, the second round of the playoffs, kind of thing, it's going to be this move we talk about, or
absolutely.
The development of the whole team?
Absolutely, because looking at the Colts this season, I mean they're having an incredible season. But their losses right now are to the Rams and Steelers, two playoff teams. The Rams game was not ugly. It was a close game. The Steelers game was ugly. But their best wins on the season are against the Broncos and the Chargers. It's not like they've really beaten an elite team yet. I think this can help them. And in the playoffs, you're versing essentially all elite teams that are hot or teams that are fully healthy and very good. You're going to need a guy like Sauce to match up against their wide receiver and, their alpha. In the AFC, there's not quite as many alpha wide receivers, but you still have them here and there. And if he's not an alpha, then Sauce is going to clamp him for the whole game. So having a guy like him, he is a little poor in run defense. That's what I will say. But they made additions, everywhere else that should, it's not going to get any worse by adding Sauce, because it's going to be so much harder to pass that maybe, they can creep up on the run more. But yeah, Dan, do you have anything else to add about this? I just feel like it's a massive trade and it's going to help them a lot.
I think this is like the one thing they really needed on their defense was that like solidified just like cornerback one. I still remember when Xavier Howard was on the Colts and he was cooking, lighting up Gilmore when he was on the Colts and he was lighting up. It was like it's something that I feel like the Colts, when they have it, they get hot for a little bit and they're able to like really like get shit going. And now having like Sauce, a young guy that if you keep him good, you keep him healthy, that could be your dude like for the rest of your time there. You know what I'm saying? Like for him to finally start winning and get somewhere, like I wouldn't think as a player you'd want to leave. So this overall, like for Sauce mentally as a player to develop fantastically and a defense to capitalize with the role that they're on, like, you know what I mean? Now my question is Daniel Jones next week, does that flop continue or?
It looks like you're frozen a little bit. I don't know if you can still hear me, but I know that you're asking me, is the flop with Daniel Jones going to continue with the addition of Sauce Gardner? So while I wait for you to return, Mr. Daniel, if you can hear, I will answer that question. So I think the Daniel Jones flop is very predictable. All you need to do against this Colts team is stop the run, first of all, so that they can't get into manageable second and third down situations. And then you need to bring pressure and you need to force him to make a very quick decision and be precise when he does. So when you see the turnovers and you see the fumbles, that's all him, kind of panicking. So I think this, like I said, is going to help them stay in a positive game script, at least to start most games. They'll be able to run the ball and they'll be able to, stay in those situations and not have to ask too much from Daniel Jones. But I just hit up Dan. There he is. He's back. But
we're back.
Dan,
Holy shit.
I'm currently answering your question as of if the Daniel Jones flop will continue. And I just explained how I think it's totally dependent on the opposing defense if they're able to stop the run and if they're able to get pressure on him. If they're an elite defense, like I said, this Colts team hasn't beaten like an elite team yet. They only scored 20 points against the Rams. I get that's not terrible, but you kind of see where I'm going with this, where it's like, most of that was probably Jonathan Taylor, if I remember correctly. And they're going to, their offense is not going to look the same against elite defenses and elite teams and well-coached teams. So I'm not saying it was predictable to say the Steelers would have beaten them or anything, but in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. The Colts clearly run through Jonathan Taylor and he's their MVP. But we've got to move on to the next trade. And this is another really fun one. I love this trade. The Seattle Seahawks and New Orleans Saints have made an exchange. In this exchange, the New Orleans Saints will receive a 4th and 5th round pick in 2026, so this year. So who are they sending to Seattle? That would be wide receiver Rashid Shaeed, the speed demon. But not only that, he's proven in the past 2 years that he is a great route runner. He's a little skinny, so he's not amazing after the catch. But if you get him in space or on a punt return, he's very, very dangerous player.
He's going.
And this Seattle team, they have Torrey Horton as kind of like the tall vertical threat down the field. But I don't see him on like punt returns and stuff. Cooper Kupp went down with injury. Now you can just stick Rashid Shaeed on the outside, and you can have either JSN in the slot, or if you have just 2 perimeter wide receivers, stick him there because JSN can do everything apparently. Apparently he's a top 5 wide receiver based on this season.
He's locked in.
His breakout needs to be studied. And why Seattle didn't throw him the ball more his rookie year. But I think Shaeed being next to him, honestly, This is
It's
massive.
gonna open up a lot.
This is gonna open up a lot. Imagine how this is gonna open up the run game, the intermediate passes. I mean, Dan, what do you think the Seahawks say ceiling was before this trade, and what do you think it is after this trade?
I mean, for me, I thought it was like wild card contender, maybe first round exit, but this is like they can go deep. I'm talking about deep in the NFC playoffs now. You know what I mean? Because for teams that one are gonna underestimate them, and two, not be able to, I guess, like have the defensive players to be able to match up with the speedster on the as a 2 but also like a huge playmaker, whether it's in the middle of the field, short yardage, or down the field. Like you're having to prepare for all these kind of schemes. So it's like it just kind of shows that they're able to compete with teams like, the Packers, the Lions, maybe even the Eagles, you know what I mean? Because this is something for me. Seeing that was just like shit. Like
you guys have to cover Shaeed.
They could spread the field however they want to at this point, and you have to worry still about Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet to make sure that your team's not going to get blown up, because you're going to want to spread the field to be able to make sure you can contain them and keep them inside. But it might not even work like that for you, honestly, because then you have Kenneth Walker running down the middle.
Yeah, and you got AJ Barner, the tight end, the young tight end, who's also been very good.
Barner.
I mean, they got everything. I mean, and I doubted this offensive line mixed with Sam Darnold. Clearly, the offensive line is playing well, and they're well coached. And Sam Darnold is on another level. I mean, last year he had the Vikings. He had all the help there. The top 5 defense, top 5 offensive situation. Kevin O'Connell calling the plays, and I'm not saying he's going to statistically outproduce him this year, but I am way more impressed by what he's done with JSN, Cooper Kupp, and the Seahawks offense that was just dreadful. Not dreadful, but just not good the past 2 years, underperforming. So massive move for the Seahawks, honestly, and really changed my mind, especially with what they did last week. Seeing them then make a move like this is huge. All right, a small move here made between the Browns and the Bears. The Bears receive Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and a 7th-round pick for a 6th-round pick to the Browns. That's just, edge depth for them there. The Bears defense is not good, so perhaps they feel like they need more help along with Montez Sweat. They did neglect edge with their premium draft picks this season, so they decided to take Colson Loveland, and he had a great game, but this defense is suffering greatly. And one has to wonder if Cole Kmet could have got it done. But yeah, Loveland looks really good. But yeah, they make a small move. Up next, I think this is we only have 2 trades left to discuss, and they're both from the Chargers. So I believe this one happened first. Jaire Taylor from the Jets is sent to them for a conditional 7th-round pick. That's secondary depth. So the Chargers still feel like they've got a chance this season. Joe Alt just. His season's over, by the way, if you didn't know. He needed surgery on the high ankle. So what did they – I was like, damn, they're going to go right back to being able to be beaten by the Giants. That's pretty bad. No, they refuse. They lose both of their starting tackles. They say, you know what? We're going to trade a 6th-round pick for the Saints, Trevor Penning, who's like a veteran, and he's kind of like, I think he's like an average starter. If I had to kind of grade him, he's like you'd be happy to have him if you had no one.
You'd be happy to have him to be like, you know what, he could contain. He'd be good.
On the Giants, he would have been very useful for a couple years there. I'd say he's like an Illuminor, probably level guy. So they can get it done with him. Do I feel like the Chargers should be going all in this year when both of your tackles though are out for the season? That's my thing with this trade. I mean, do you want him to be a swing tackle like next year? Is like that your plan, or like you're just trying to give this year the best
keep
shot
him
you
around
can?
To be like, hey, something goes wrong, we're good for next year type thing. I see what you're saying.
I guess you might as well have done it, but because you only gave up a 6th-round pick 2 years from now. It's 2027, by the way. For a chance to just survive this season and maybe get back into the playoffs and just don't have a disappointing game. Because if you didn't have a tackle, Justin Herbert was going to be under a ton of pressure, and he was going to get obliterated and throw 4 interceptions, or I guess 1.5 times the amount he had thrown throughout the entire regular season. Yeah. So interesting for the Chargers. I respect it. My end goal is like always like get to the AFC Championship, get to the NFC Championship, or get to the Super Bowl. Like you have to get to one of those. If you lose in the divisional round, it's like Like anyone can
It's
get
like now
high.
you literally just get a high draft pick, and you're having to like sit there praying that it works out for you in the way that it does. But like,
You know
I don't know.
exactly.
It's like, I respect that the Chargers. Like, I respect these teams that I feel like for the longest time were just let's go draft and like we're just gonna ball out and get tickets and get money and then call it a day and not build this team. It's like the Chargers are fighting to be something.
They
So it's
are.
like I like it. I freaking like it. So it's like keep it rolling.
Yeah.
But like the pick, I don't blame because when they come back next year, and if one of them gets hurt, you have something to work with. So
Yeah.
I give you guys respect for that.
Yeah, and I
can't
mean
hate on
they both had big injuries. Maybe they'll need Trevor Penning next year to kind of ease one of
Take
the
the
other
load.
two in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just a bit of a pessimist here. But I will say the reason that I don't think it matters if you make it to the divisional round is because the 2022 Giants made it to the divisional round. Okay? Like any team, like literally that was a bottom 5 roster that just like coach out of nowhere got them to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game against a team that had 13 wins. Like that first round doesn't mean that much to me. You got to win in the top 4 in your conference. You got to be one of the 2 best teams in your conference to really be like, oh, we're going all in. And there's a lot of teams in the NFC that feel like that. In the AFC though, I'm like, do I believe the Chargers can get past the Chiefs or Bills right now? I do not.
The
Do
Chiefs, the Bills,
yeah, maybe the
possible
Steelers.
Colts,
Yeah, the Colts.
the
Yeah, I mean,
Steelers.
there's a ton of teams, and you know what? What a better time to transition into the pocket top 10. Let's go, Dan. Are you hyped for your list today?
Let's get lit, man.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can rock first. Why not?
All right, let's get your list up here. All right, I've got your list on the screen here, and with all the trades that went down today, were you able to incorporate all of those changes into your list, or were some of them after you submitted it? Are you anticipating making any spontaneous changes?
No, I mean for the most part, I sent it to you a little bit after. So like, I mean, I didn't expect the Cowboys trades that happened, but the Cowboys still aren't gonna be in my top 10. So, but I think the Colts one, I still like where they're at. I just gotta see how the team turns out. So let's go 10-1. So to start it off for me, I like the Broncos at 10. I liked what's it called? I'm liking the consistency. They're just like still a very well-rounded team. I can't hate on them. I like the production they have. I like the skill set that they have. And as far as coaching, Peyton does what he does. You know what I mean? I can't really hate on them. As a team, I think Bo Nix performed at a very good pace, doing what he has to do. They played the Texans this past week, and of course, CJ Stroud got hurt, and it really freaking frustrated me because I'd like to see that guy flourish at some point again.
Yes,
but,
me too.
Hey, so beggars can't be choosers, I guess. But you guys only won by 3 points that game, when I remember correctly. So
Yeah.
I would have expected that the moment Stroud was hurt, you guys should have ran away with that game, but you guys didn't. So it's like really hard to, give you that. Yeah, you beat the Eagles. Yeah, like you came back against the Giants, but when it comes to playoff time and everything like that, that's just not a thing. You're not playing the Eagles. You're not playing any of us in the playoffs early rounds. So you're gonna have to go up against the Chiefs and the Broncos, not the Broncos, and the Bills and the Steelers and the Colts. And these teams don't seem like ones that you could just like squeeze one by or make some like
no, you're right.
treacherous thing. It's like these quarterbacks don't really allow that. So that's just not a thing we're gonna do here, Chief. Next coming up,
Number 9.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got the Rams. The Rams are still an overall solid team. They played the Saints, yes. What's it called? But like I said in the previous conversation that we had about this, it was 34-10. Matthew Stafford should have done it. That should have been what he needed to do. So I can't. Like I said, I'm not gonna give you the flowers because if I'm not gonna give the birds the flowers when they do exactly what they need to do, I'm gonna give you the same standard to every other single team. It was a rookie quarterback. The Saints ain't going nowhere. I think they're competing with the Jets to try to get the first round pick, and this is just the ball that we have in New Orleans. You know what I mean?
You're talking about Chuck?
Huh?
You're talking about Tyler Shuck?
Yeah, Tyler Shuck. Yeah. But I'm saying this is the kind of ball that is going on in New Orleans. What I mean by is like just basically playing, figuring out what works, and going into the draft being like, what do we need the most? That one right there, and that's what they're competing with right here, right now, at this moment to try to rebuild that team.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a shame because there's dudes like Tyrann Mathieu, Cameron Jordan, all these like star veterans that I feel like would flourish in other teams right now, but I know they're very big. Like, I want to stay here, kind of thing. Like, I know Alvin Kamara said, if you make me move, I'm gonna be drinking mimosas or something like that somewhere. I was pissed, but yeah. So that's my take with the Ravens.
Quick correction on the graphic. On the graphic, I have the Broncos listed as new and the Rams listed as new. They are not new. The Rams dropped 2 spots and the Broncos dropped 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Sorry, Dan. Continue, please. Number 8.
So 8, the Bucks. What's it called? I completely forgot because they were on bye beforehand. I put it in my last list, but I'm gonna still give them their respect. Baker's doing great. He did fantastic. He did what he had to do with just both rookie receivers and Bucky Irving out, and he had just Kate out in his O line. So, the Bucks are still a scary team. I think they get into circumstances where Baker gets into like a little of a system where he has a hard time really grasping like the situation in the game. You know what I mean? Like I remember in the first take or whatever with Stephen A, they asked Cam like, oh, who are you gonna take, Hurts over Baker in a stressful situation, and he threw that pick. It's like there's very crucial games where you need Baker to like thrive and ball out and do what he needs to do, and it's like he's choked numerous times. So
I will say the I don't fully agree with what you're saying, but that Commanders game fumble was like, it was an exchange. That was like supposed to be the Buccaneers' year, and like there was no worse way to lose that game. There really was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, because I know you could be.
How do you screw up an exchange in the playoffs?
How do you screw that up in the playoffs?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Because if we're here, and I'm telling you, and that was the Eagles, I know you sit here and that'd be first thing you use. You know what I'm saying? You would use to be like, Hurts is a top 25 quarterback. Like he would, like that. Like, it would be immediate, and I'm not gonna go and let that slide. So like Baker in those truly, truly important situations against like the Eagles and the Bucks, him rolling out, dipped out of 2 sacks, and you throw an interception. So it's like it happens. It's it's treacherous, but the Bucks are still top 10. I think they can figure it out. If Baker can get those clutch moments right, it's gonna be a scary team. You know what I mean? But that's where I'm at with that. Next,
number 7.
The Birds. You might think to myself, Dan, but like you had them in 5. Why are they in 7? Because new guys, new pieces. You don't know how the scheme's gonna work. You don't know who's gonna work. You don't know where it's what. I am curious where these guys are against the Packers. They're playing them this week. They just came off of a shitty-ass loss against the Panthers, i.e., they're not in my top 10.
Yeah.
They are knocked out. I am not dealing with it. And we could argue, and you could beef with me. The Packers are not there, but the Birds are. And the reason why I knocked them down is just like I said, not unknown. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know what the coach is going to be like. We don't know what this whole new formation is going to be like. And that's me being as a real fan, but also a real analyst in this podcast.
I think it's an admirable take to actually say, since there's new pieces, we don't know that it's going to work. Like it could be a distraction. Like your app. I did not even think about that actually. And
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because if I were to sit here right now and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to cook, we're going to smack, I'm going to look like a dumbass. Then when the next week comes up, is say, God forbid, we lost.
Or the guy plays 20% of snaps.
Or the guy barely plays, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they're like, where are these freaking pieces? You know what I'm saying? We don't know where the scheme's going to be at. So I'm going to have to give them a little bit of regression because all we have is what they are supposed to do and the errors they've made through the season. Mm-hmm. So they're still a top-tier team, one of those top teams in the NFC. But we'll see how great they are and where they stand after this week. And it's like if they come out and they play the Packers how they should be, they're definitely going to be in a top 4 team, for me at least. So That goes 7. Number 6.
Number 6.
The Seahawks. Bro, listen. I know they done fucked up Jaden's elbow. Okay? They done destroyed the Commanders. But it's like, bro, that defense is physical as hell, bro.
They really are, man.
They play like it's the Legion of Boom all over again. Their offense is different kind of scheme. What's up, Saudi? What?
I was gonna say they got Nick Emanwari wearing Cam Chancellor's number, playing that Kyle Hamilton role, just like we said it would happen. I was like, no way. There was no better spot for him to go than right there.
Literally, yo. It's just like this team is like so well rounded that it's like it's working out. Like, and Jason is like literally just the certified one. And you know what I mean? I'm gonna give him his flowers now, but now I want to see that again next year, kind of thing. Because that's the consistency aspect. You know what I mean? That you didn't know he could do that. Now he's done it. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna adjust? Kenny can keep it consistent as a true number one. And Sam Darnold is like, yo, he's really showing that like the Jets are just the reason why he couldn't thrive. If I'm gonna be so honest,
seriously.
Like, to me, it makes me mad because the 49ers were like Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold, and then
to this day. What? You and I had a conversation about this. I remember vividly.
We did.
We're like, yeah, I mean, the Purdy guy, you know, he played well last year, but like Sam Darnold's got so much talent. If anyone can figure it out, it's got to be Kyle Shanahan. And they're like, yeah, we're afraid of change. So we're not gonna give him an opportunity. I think he did play like one game or something, or like
he played one game
or something like that because Purdy was out or whatever. But it's like, dude, you know, like you didn't even once cross your mind that this former, like, was he third overall pick? He was right after Saquon. Yeah,
right after Saquon.
Yeah, come on. Like
that was third overall pick, and then he was just like, but what about that pick 6 first play? It's like, bro, we all over that. We're all done with that. He came in, he started saucing, but hey, you wanted Purdy, then he went to the Vikings, and now he's looked at that. It was like, it was truly something magical. All right, now we got number 5.
Number 5.
The Lions. And listen, I knocked them down. I don't know if I knocked them down or if I kept them in the same place.
2 spots.
I had them 2, right? 2 spots? Okay. Why? Because J.J. McCarthy beat you. I'm not trying to trash on him, but I'm also going to be so for real. It was like, he got his pieces back. Everything was good for the most part. But, dude, like, you guys are supposed to be the team that last year said would have beat the 2024 Eagles in the playoffs if we played them.
Right.
Amon Ra going on podcasts like, oh yeah, if we played that team, we would have smacked them. We would have done this, we would have done that. Going on podcasts being like, when I talked to Avonte Maddox, they say, oh, they don't practice like this in Philly. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, yeah, that's fantastic. Guess what? You lost. Like, you took the L 3 points to a team that you really should not have lost to. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to go back to Scott's point that, yes, like that week 1, yo, low-key didn't matter because now we're here. And we're looking at these Lions like, damn, bro, like.
They're not invincible.
They're not invincible. Like, it's like once you get the rhythm, once you get it rolling, yo, you guys, like, will lose. Like, yo, like Jahmyr Gibbs, bro. Like, he was nowhere to be found that game. Like,
to be honest, it feels a lot like the Colts with the way Goff and Daniel Jones, like, crumble under game script. Like, it's a real thing with quarterbacks when they're in that cozy lead. They're a different guy. It gives them reassurance that they can play it safe. But Goff, yeah, I mean, he was kind of ugly in this game.
Yeah, because again, both situations with Goff and Jones, like, you put pressure on him and he's having to scramble and move around and make plays against the script. You're just having to extend play. Nah, bro, it's like they just don't do that, and that's what's kind of scary because it's like
all the way back to that 49ers NFC Championship game you and I watched when he couldn't. It was like 3rd down, 4th down. They kept going for it, and it's like, all right, how many times are they going to get away with running it? When are they going to pass on 4th down and Goff has to scramble? And then they did, and what happened? He couldn't get it done. Like, it was like he was moving the whole like, I respect Jared Goff as an athlete and a quarterback, but I mean, that's just not what he does. And, you know, we
looked like he was running like he was a lot faster than he thought he was. He was.
You're right. All right.
But number 4?
Number 4.
I'm going to give Joey a little bit more respect on this take. I'll put the Patriots. And the reason why, yes, It did win. It was a way closer than it should have been against this Falcons team that I feel like week to week is figuring out, are we going to play like the Falcons or
Are we going to play like
nah.
the Pigeons?
Yeah, are we going to play like the Pigeons? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Then, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's like this game that they were playing, they should have just flew with it. And this is what made me mad is because, for example, Drake May experienced pressure. What does he have? One hand on the ball. Crucial error. Mm-hmm. Then the first play of the first drive in the second half, dude gets pressure on him and instead realizes, oh shoot, I gotta start running. And what does he do? Still have only one hand on the ball, not cradle, not nothing. You're making the same mistakes over and over again. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't understand why, like, he's not learning. I finally found something about him that I'm like, that's what he needs to fix. And it's like, when he starts making mistakes, it's like a consistent thing.
Yeah, it snowballs.
It just snowballs.
And the Falcons missed a game-tying extra point in this game. So can I ask you, is this more about you catching up to what you feel like you kind of felt like you were unsure about them? Because you have them moving up 5 spots, but it also sounds like you're kind of like not super happy about like this week. So is it like you feel like kind of now looking back at what the other teams have done so far and what they've done so far? I mean, they are 7-2.
Exactly.
It feels kind of like the Colts, but where there's like what's like the signature win, but like they are 7-2. Like it's hard to argue with. So you feel like you're just kind of finally giving them the respect that you feel like you've been holding back.
100%. It's like I'm gonna give you the respect, but I'm also gonna recognize and understand that teams that have not found the error, like the Falcons have just not been able to capitalize. And now I would like to see when they put May under pressure, when they catch him in these mistakes. Like it's like if that pick 6 would have happened and they wouldn't have wasted all that clock trying to score and get it in and get in the end zone and everything like that, like it'd be a different ball game. Like the Penix would have more time. Who knows if he could have made the play to try to get them a field goal, make it happen, all that stuff. But it's like the Patriots are in a great position, and that's why I moved them up, because again, I'm gonna give them that respect. But it's hard to keep them like that. To me, it's like they're shaky, like a shaky 4, because it's gonna take one of these prime teams, because they beat the Bills.
I think they play the Buccaneers in like a week or two.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like once I see you guys play like another team, because I don't know what it is about the Bills, and they see a Patriots logo, like I really don't. Like they just quiver in their boots, bro. So when I see like them play another team that is worth their salt, the shakiness will go away for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's where I'm at. We at 3.
Number 3,
the Colts. And even though they got absolutely mollywopped by the Steelers, everybody has a bad game. Everybody has an off day. Daniel Jones's face really gave me make me remember back in the day of when he would, like, he's like, fuck, bro. Like,
you mean that one?
yeah, that face.
A little more open-eyed,
like he's a little panic. That's what I'm saying. Like he has the panic look of like, oh shit, I gotta really clutch up here. And
I was always rooting for him. Sorry.
You know what I mean? Because like I can only imagine the pressure you're feeling. Like there is 4 grown men. Ready to freaking mess me up.
Yeah. They want to kill me. Actually, they want to kill me.
Yeah. Actually. And I had to line up and dot up everybody. And what happened? The drive that they were going down with 2 minutes left, throws the interception to Joey Porter.
Yeah, dude, he threw like 3 interceptions that were like at the worst time.
You know what I'm saying? It's like those are moments where it's like in the playoffs, it's wraps. Yeah. Like you only need 1. Like that's basically what it is, and you got 3 here. Like, I don't know a lot of people that get 3 interceptions and be like, oh yeah, we still got a chance. Like, no, it's over. Like, so while I think this is and the reason why I keep him at 3. Why? The Sauce trade. I saw it before sending this. So, the Sauce trade, plus, I think now I have...
You have the Lions down 2 spots. I think you think the McCarthy loss to the Vikings is worse for the Lions than the Colts
100%.
losing. I think that's more surprising than the Colts losing to the Steelers.
100%. Everybody's gonna have a trap game, and I think this was the Colts trap game, but this is not as significant as like the Lions trap game or the Packers trap game. So the Packers trap game completely like Vladimir Guerrero's like home run out of the freaking top 10 for me because that was horrendous. But we'll probably talk about that later with your top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right, let's move it along.
So the Colts, so number 2.
Number 2.
The Chiefs. They lost to the Bills. It's pretty self-explanatory. I can't give you like number 1 after you just took the L to the team that I had also like up there. So the Chiefs still good, still well-rounded, still they do what they doing what they got to do. I saw the whole like Mahomes threw the ball and the ball tapped, like he tapped it with his hand. They're like, oh, we got screwed out of the play. I'm sorry, you got screwed out of 1 out of the 7 trillion plays that the refs have given you in your life. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't give pity to that. I can't give any self-explanatory to that. Everybody's going to have a rough call. Even as the Eagles fan, I crash out. But, like, hey, does anybody care? No. Why? Because we're the Eagles. So, so the Chiefs, I'm not stressed about them. They're figuring it out whether they can make it to the playoffs or not because everybody in their division is saucing.
Yeah, everyone's doing really well right now. Even the Raiders have Brock Bowers back and he looks good.
So it's like, if we have a playoff without the Chiefs, bro,
hallelujah.
Life is great.
Yeah.
Life is great.
Life could be a dream. Shoo-doo-be-doo-be-doo.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would lose it.
All right, and so you got the Bills.
The
Bills, or not the Bills. Number 1.
Yes, the Bills, bro. Allen looks fantastic. Do I have him as MVP? It's hard to say. You know what I mean? I'm really shocked, like truly shocked. The Bills were not like, we need to trade for a number 1 receiver because Coleman's not it, Shakir's not it.
Jakobi Meyers.
You know what I'm saying? Jakobi Meyers is right there. You know what I mean? Clearly, they wanted Jakobi Meyers. You could have traded maybe Brian Thomas Jr. Like, bro, it would just something. Just somebody, bro.
It would appear Joey wanted to hop into the call via phone. Joey is I think Joey's on the move at the moment, and I don't know if he can hear us. Joey, you're muted. If you can hear us, by the way, I am about to delineate into my top 10. Dan just gave his top 10. There you go. You unmuted yourself. Joey, say what's up to everyone.
Yo,
we can hear you. Nice. All right. And before, I see you were typing in the chat too. Someone left in the chat. Pigeons for the Falcons. Yeah, he said go Birds. You Scuba King 3370 is your Eagles fan, Dan. So
yes, sir, bro. Subscribe to the channel, my boy.
Yeah, so go subscribe to Debate with Dan. It's in my description. So my brother asked me. He said, since the Giants didn't make a move, do you think it's because we simply couldn't come to a deal? Or could it be we're prepping for a move at head coach, GM, and ownership isn't allowing big roster moves? So my thoughts on that are that, first of all, I think it is important to mention that John Mara is dealing with cancer at the moment, and I'm not sure, how much he's going to want to overhaul the head coach and GM because he's going to be part of that hiring process. I know the Tishes can get involved too, but, it's Mara. But do I think we couldn't make a move? So I really thought it would have been a good idea for us to try to either get Jakobi Meyers, Jalen Waddle, literally any wide receiver that's available, but also a corner, even honestly, the Giants could use a lot of things outside of defensive line with the way the team is right now. So what do I think happened? I was confused that we didn't make any moves because I figured even if they were going to get fired and the owner knew that, you're still typically even encouraged to trade some players away now that you probably drafted in exchange for draft picks that the new GM can use in that year's draft. So if I had to guess, I would say Joe Schoen is usually pretty he's usually pretty stubborn. Like, he's got principles and he sticks by them. My guess is we couldn't come to an agreement. They probably thought, the asking price for a Waddle was too high. I guess a 4th and a 6th was too much to give up for Meyers.
Bro, Waddle to the Bills would have been crazy.
I know. But two picks that we're probably going to need moving forward. So, yeah, I just think they probably didn't come to one. I mean, it seems like every year the Giants they make at least a small move, but it just didn't happen this year. So, do I think we're preparing for us firing Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen? Honestly, I have no idea, but my gut is leaning that, yeah, this is it. All right. So that's enough for that question. Moving on.
Giants had all trash. That's what it came down to.
The Giants, what? What is that, Joey?
No one wanted the Giants trash.
Yeah, nobody. Well, people would want our draft picks, but we need to hold on to those. So that's what happened there. All right, Dan, I'm gonna hide your top 10 graphic, and I'm going to delineate into mine. Actually, let me get your graphic in this window right here, so it's nice and ready. Oh wait, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Sorry, guys, if you're watching right now and you have to listen to my spontaneous noises, but it's just the way I fill the void of sound as I make these edits, and then we persevere and we move on. All right, so there's Dan's list in the top 10. You can see it now, but it's going to get hidden once I show mine, which is right here. All right, so this week for the top 10, number 10, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropping one spot. They didn't play, but there's just some other teams that I liked more than them. I'm still a little concerned about the Evans injury. Looks like Godwin and Bucky should be back this week. We'll see if they play and how they look. But I kind of got them in the same range as Danny, kind of 10 through 7. I can't remember exactly where you had them. But, I just think, they're a really solid team. It does depend a lot on Baker kind of having his best day. When he does, they can beat anyone. But to trust them to do that 3 games in a row, which is, what it takes to get to a Super Bowl, without Evans, it's going to be tough. If Evans can come back in time for the playoffs, they're gonna rise up this list a lot higher, because when fully healthy, they are one of the, I'd say, 3 to 5 best teams in the NFL. That's just not the case right now. Number 9, I got the Denver Broncos.
8, by the way.
Huh?
I had the Bucs at 8.
You had the Bucs at 8, yeah. So I'm 2 spots below you, pretty much the same spot. But I have the Broncos at 9, and they're dropping a spot for me. Why are they dropping? They just won. Well, they beat Davis Mills, and as Dan said, they won the game by 3 points. C.J. Stroud was out for over a half, and you can't extend from that. This Texans team has lost to only teams with winning records so far this season. This is a good team. Okay, so I'm not totally surprised that the game remained close, but my prediction was that the Texans would win this game 18-16. I believe that would have happened if Stroud was still in this game.
For the rest of the game, at least.
Yeah, I think they definitely would have won, and it would have been a low-scoring game. I think I was all over this, and that really reassured me about my opinion that, I like the Broncos. I think they have ceiling, but I think they have potential. It sounds great when you talk about Bo Nix and this short passing game of Sean Payton and all these weapons, but then you forget that gelling and chemistry actually has to occur. This team has no number 1 wide receiver. I get Cortland Sutton's there. They don't target him like that. Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, and Pat Bryant, as the 4. They have this collection of guys. Evan Ingram hasn't really done too much this year. RJ Harvey and Dobbins are a solid duo. Harvey's starting to get used more finally. But it's just the wide receivers and then the offense with Bo Nix. This Texans defense is maybe the best in the NFL. But seeing, what's supposed to be precise offense perform like that when they're down to a backup was disappointing for me. So they moved down a spot to number 9. Number 8. We got the Seattle Seahawks, who were furious at me last week for not putting them on my list. And I had them as an honorable mention, not for nothing. But they're back on the list. And I feel kind of funny for not having them on there and having the Broncos on there, because this Seahawks team is a way better version of this Broncos team. And now they have Rashid Shaeed. So it is kind of we'll see. It sounds amazing. We'll see if it actually does pan out the way we think it will. But everything that this Broncos team can do, it almost feels like the Seahawks team can do better. It feels like their defense is more disruptive. It feels like their offense explodes, and it has exploded at times this season, not against teams like the Giants, against teams like the Buccaneers. Now, they also kind of struggle with the idea of, like, what is the Seahawks' signature win? I mean, they beat the Steelers, which are looking to be a pretty good team, the Jags, which are looking to be a pretty good team, and the Commanders, which are looking to be a pretty good team. But they also lost to San Francisco week 1 and the Buccaneers. But there's no, like, they beat the Lions, they beat the Colts, like, they beat the Eagles. Like, and I get it, it's kind of close with the Steelers, Jags, and Commanders. Like, those are good teams, fringe playoff teams. But it's not like, I'd say that the Jaguars win was the most convincing. That Commanders team had pretty much fallen apart by the time they played them. And the Steelers win was good too, but that Jaguars win, that defense was so dominant. So that's why they're there at number 8 for me. Number 7, we got the Green Bay Packers.
Bro, get the freak out of here. Get the freak out of here.
Dropping 2 spots. All right, I dropped them. I dropped them 2 spots. All right, so let me just delineate into this idea of, like, the upsets that occurred this week. We had the Lions lose to the Vikings. We had the Packers lose to the Panthers. And there was one more.
Colts lost to the Steelers.
The Colts lost to the Steelers. How could I forget? So, among those, I would say, the Steelers are a fringe playoff team. We see that now. I'm pretty sure they're 5-3. They've got some solid wins under their belt, but nothing crazy. Not the craziest team. Not super high ceiling. They were just better that day. They caught the Colts off guard. But their quarterback had a really bad game, Daniel Jones. The Lions, they versed, like, kind of the best version of that Vikings team. Like, Addison was suspended. The offensive line had gone through some injuries. Wentz was not good under that. But they got, like, everything back on offense and defense. And you could tell watching the game, schematically, at least on defense, like, they were par for par with the Lions. If not, they were kind of one step ahead of them the whole game. It seemed like they knew, and they were able to contain Gibbs. And then offensively, since they're stuffing them so hard, they were able to jump out and take that early lead and then sustain that lead. I was getting a little nervous they were going to choke that game away, but the Vikings defense held it down. So when it comes to this Packers and Panthers one, you're like, well, where are you going with this? Well, I'm saying this Panthers team is not that bad. They're 5-4. I mean, they beat the Cowboys. It's not like they have the most impressive list of wins, but they have a dominant run game. Like, truly, like, this run game has been underrated all season. And that carried them to victory in this game. And then, honestly, this is just more to me about, like, the Colts, like, you boil it down to Daniel Jones. And then with the Lions, you boil it down to, wow, the Vikings are finally fully healthy. And McCarthy, like, wasn't too bad. And the Lions just kind of didn't show up a little bit. They kind of beat themselves. I would say this Packers team just completely beat themselves. Like, the way that they're trying to, like, run this offense is, like, the reason they play up and down to their competition. Like that Browns game, they played it safe the whole time, thinking they were safe, winning like 10-0. And then you end up losing that game because you were content being up 10-0 and not actually going for, like, these deep shots to your wide receivers. Matthew Golden, Christian Watson's back now. Jaden Reed is hurt, but he'll be back probably in time for the playoffs, I think. Dontavian Wicks is, like, your number 4. Dobbs on the outside is, like, the primary target getter, but, like, the consistency from this passing game is not here. Jordan Love had a pretty ugly game a week after having what was probably the best game of his career. So to me, it's, like, kind of just a conglomerate of, like, the Packers are not, if I'm going to criticize something, it's not like the players on the team. It's actually going to be Matt LaFleur this time and a little bit of Jordan Love. Jordan Love didn't play well, but I don't think Matt LaFleur is really on his P's and Q's right now. I think he's kind of, he's not approaching these games the right way, and it's the reason that they play up and down. And so I think this was super avoidable. I think they would beat the Panthers 9 times out of 10. This was just a week that they didn't show up, and they paid for it, and they're paying for it on my list. They're dropping 2 spots. I still think they're way too talented, just like I said about the Eagles early on in the season when they lost to the Giants. And the Giants are bad. They're not like the Panthers, I said, let's hold on a minute here. Have some faith. This Eagles team is really talented. They have good coaches. They'll figure it out. It's just 1 week. So I have them staying at 7. So that's my quick defense.
But you said about the Steelers being a fringe, like, playoff team and everything. Do you see the playoff? Do you see the Panthers being able to sneak in?
It's unlikely that they sneak in, but they are 5-4. If we look at the NFL standings right now. NFLstandings.com. NFC. We got the Eagles at 6-2, the Packers at 5-2-1, the Buccaneers at 6-2, and then the Seahawks at 6-2. So the wild cards would be Rams, Lions, and then it would be Rams, Lions, Bears, but they played one less game than the Panthers. The Panthers have the same amount of wins as the Lions and the Bears. The only team that would get in ahead of them is the Rams. So, yeah, they can make the playoffs. I mean, there's only 3 spots. One of those teams are not going to make it. So, if I had to put my money on it, I'd probably say it's the Bears who miss. And then the Vikings are 4-4. They're kind of there. The 49ers are 6-3. I just feel like it's going to fall apart. I guess they would make it in over the Panthers. But, yeah. So, yeah, I think they could make the playoffs. It sounds kind of crazy, but like I said, this is not a bad team. Don't get it twisted. Like, they're pretty dangerous. So, there's a couple times now that they've caught teams off guard. All right, number 6, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you like that, Dan? How do you like that?
We're right there with each other.
Right there with each other. Right? Very
Same
similar teams. I think you guys are ahead when it comes to kind of fixing your problems. As part of why I put you guys ahead, and you had such a good trade deadline mixed in with the bye week. I think it's a really good opportunity for this team to reestablish themselves as a top 5 to 3 team in the NFL. Just as talented as the Packers. Saquon Barkley started looking good again, although he pulled his groin a little bit. He had the bye. I think we'll be back. And this, just O-line getting healthy. This late bye for them is kind of a gift. And as a Giants fan, I'm very upset. I have a very bad feeling about this. Not too much else to say. They didn't play this week, but like I said, Jalen Phillips, Jaire Alexander, one of those things are going to work out. You're healthy off the bye. I mean, they're one of the healthiest teams in the league, and they are. That lasts into the playoffs. So
it does. And I think he's just excited because since Daniels is out, the Cowboys may have a chance to sneak in some way, somehow.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see about the Cowboys. Yeah.
We already own the Commanders.
I totally ignored the Cowboys in that, like, are the Panthers going to make it discussion? Not intentional. You guys made some changes, but you're still behind in the win column, so you got to catch up first. All right. Number 5. The Indianapolis Colts dropping one spot. One spot for me, not the Cowboys. Oh, you guys can't see Joey right now because he's hidden. But that's him talking right there. You'll know because it's not Danny. Oh, yeah, you can't even see the screen. Anyway, Colts dropping one spot to number 5. What happened? You played the Steelers. Well, they've got 3 great defensive tackles, a defensive culture that has been there for well over a decade. They know how to stop these types of teams and make those quarterbacks uncomfortable. Daniel Jones has never played comfortably against the Steelers. And even behind this Colts team, it appears that they caught him off guard. I think this Colts team can recalibrate. I think it's good to lose sometimes. Now they know we can't let this happen. So moving forward, they can game plan for such things. And anytime they say, let's just take these teams, for example, these past 4 teams, defensive-heavy teams, the Eagles, the Packers, the Seahawks, the Broncos, even the Buccaneers on their best day. Those are games that are going to be tough for them. And I'll remind everyone, this Colts team has not beaten an elite team. Their 2 best wins are against the Broncos and the Chargers. So that is against a good defense, the Broncos. And maybe the Chargers a little bit, but they're not like these monstrously run-stuffing defenses like the Steelers, So it seems like the Colts' kryptonite has been somewhat established, but, I'm excited to see how they readjust and recalibrate to that. Number 4, we got the Detroit Lions dropping 2 spots. So Packers and Lions both dropped 2 spots. I feel like the Packers and Lions losses were both kind of the same kind of realm. Vikings, hey, fully healthy. You know what I mean? JJ McCarthy back. Great coaching staff. Not that bad of a team. They're 4-4 right now, despite even with what has been going on with them. And the Packers, it's like, yeah, that Panthers team is a lot better than most of us anticipated. And the Packers didn't show up and the Lions didn't show up. So, still a top 5 team for me. They still have, all the stability you would assume could keep them around with this. But, it's just really disappointing to see them lose a game like that. And Jared Goff looked the way he did. A lot of people were mad at me for having Goff where I did in my Baker Mayfield video, not having him in my top 10 quarterbacks. If I did, he would take Jalen Hurts' spot, but Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl. So in that same very fortunate situation, Hurts was able to get it done. And, Goff hasn't done it yet. So I think I kind of want to see him, see if he can get into the playoffs and prove these things again. Maybe get to that Super Bowl one more time. Yeah, because he's been there with the Rams. All right, number 3. We got the Buffalo Bills. What's going on? They just beat the Chiefs. Weren't the Chiefs your number 1 team? Why aren't they number 2? Why aren't they number 1? Well, I have them moving up 3 spots. And my thing is with the Bills is that it's just, if this list is taking into account at all, like what we think is going to happen down the stretch and like through the playoffs, I do not care that much that this Bills team beat this Chiefs team in the regular season. They're now 5-1.
Fair point.
They're 5-1 against this Chiefs team in the regular season, and they're 0-4 against them in the playoffs. A part of me thinks that this Chiefs team expects to see this Bills team, and they show them half of their game plan. Or
I fully agree.
they don't show, because even though this is not a season you would say the Chiefs can afford to lose games, and you would think they would never think like that, they're still going to go into the game trying to win. But if they can try to win the game while showing as little
half the effort,
right? They're seeing if they can coast through this game. If they can't, oh well, we're still going to beat them in the playoffs. We're still going to lock in for every other team. Our game plan for them is not going to matter, because it's not like we're game planning for Josh Allen. We just don't want them to know how we're going to stop Josh Allen this time. And every single year in the playoffs, it looks different. So they moved up 3. It was still very impressive. They looked good the first week off the bye. This is a good second week off the bye. We'll see how things develop. But I don't think they have another really challenging game until really late in the season, or they play the Patriots again. So we'll see. Bills at number 3. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Above the Bills. They're dropping 1 spot. Why? For all the reasons I just explained. I don't really care that they lost to this Bills team. I didn't care when they were 0-2. I did a little bit, but I knew Rice was coming back. We all knew that. So for the time, we had him kind of low. We moved him back up. I don't really see them leaving this top 3 teams tier for a very probably the whole rest of the season. For me, this Chiefs team is just, they didn't have their best day. I would say defensively, they were pretty poor against the run, and this defense actually has me a little bit worried about this year. But the offense, I think they were just a few plays away from, clearly winning, this game, just like the Bills, were the ones who ended up capitalizing on it. To me, Mahomes, he didn't have his best game. That interception he threw late was kind of ugly. It was triple coverage, and I'm oh man, why does it seem like his deep ball is just not even mentally what it used to be? I just feel like he throws in the double and triple coverage all the time. So little discouraging with that, but maybe Mahomes is literally throwing the game to try to boost their confidence, give them a false sense of security before they head into the playoffs. I think that idea is so funny, but it seems so true. So who is my number 1 team? Number 1. The Los Angeles Rams are moving up 2 spots for me. I have made up my mind. I know that they were only playing the Saints. But to me, it's more about this Bills and Chiefs team. What they did prove to me is that they are still neck and neck. It's not like the Bills blew them out, and it's oh, damn, I would definitely move the Bills over them if that happened. Or if the Chiefs beat the Bills, I'd be well, these 2 teams are still the same. But for me, this Rams team, top to bottom, offense, defense, the way they're able to disrupt. I actually want to start on the defensive side, because the way this defense is able to be disruptive, winning against that Colts team was huge, because it's supposed to be this pass rushing, defensive front, and they're supposed to be weak against the run like we saw last year versus the Eagles. But what do we see now? They verse a team like the Colts this year that we're comparing to that Eagles team, and they win. They win that game. They're able to contain Jonathan Taylor. They're able to stop Daniel Jones. And, maybe you want to say Jalen Hurts is better than Daniel Jones. Sure. Okay, but it's the same idea. They were able to contain the run, and they've been doing it all year against everyone they go up against. And then you mix that with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk being the pass rushers they are. How well coached this defense is. It's just very impressive what they're able to do for me. And then that's not even the best unit of this team. This offense, this passing game, is the best passing game in the NFL. Matthew Stafford to Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. A close second is Dak with CD and Pickens. Joey, I know you're not happy about this, but I'm not even sure if you're going to disagree with this because just the IQ of Stafford is just on another level when you pair it, especially with McVay, a veteran receiver like Devontae Adams, who, say what you will about Pickens and his talent, compared to what Devontae is now, but Devontae is never going to be in the wrong spot. It's not like PI penalties. Every bit of production that you get from Devontae is through him. I'm not trashing Pickens. Pickens is an amazing number 2. But in the playoffs, who would I trust more? Probably Devontae with Stafford. And then Puka Nacua. I mean, it's getting harder and harder every year to rank the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL just because, you got Puka last year, really, really emerging, and the year before that. And then JSN this year. It's just amazing. But Puka, in this system is just ridiculous. And the offensive line's healthy. Kyron, Blake Corum is starting to get involved too. I just trust this team more than any other team. It's like with the Chiefs, what am I a little worried about? I'm a little worried about the defense. I'm a little worried about their defense. I feel like it's that Bills game, if it did show anything that I'm ignoring, it's that this Chiefs team is vulnerable against the run. And then the Bills, for me, it's once again that defense of theirs. Can they stop this Rams run game if they were to verse off in the Super Bowl? I don't know about that. And they're very dependent on Joey Bosa for pass rush, and who knows if he'll stay healthy. This Rams team has a lot of players. You go down the list, I trust the Rams more than every team under them on this list. So they're going to be my number 1 team, and I'm going to try to keep them here. I'm not saying I'm going to dig my heels in and completely ignore what happens, but I feel pretty strongly about this. With everything I say about what the Packers should be is what the Rams are, is what they actually are on the field. With the coaching, the way the defense can do everything and the way the offense can do everything. Everything I say about what the Packers should be is what the Rams are. So that's my take. That's my list. I'm going to move that now along with Dan's list into the bottom corner, and I think Joey should tell us either his top 10 list or any thoughts he has on the trade deadline since he wasn't able to make it for the beginning. What do you think about that, Dan? Does that sound like a good idea?
Let's get it rocking.
Joe, what's on your mind right now?
You can quickly go through my top 10. I probably can't give you all the breakdowns. We can just show what I got, how I got it set up. And then I'll talk about the trade deadline. That's what I really want to talk about.
All right. I do believe I actually have your graphics, so I'm going to try to pull that up right now. If you just give me, sorry, my stuff is showing up on the stream. Still getting used to that. Okay. All right, I got to download it real quick, but why don't you talk about the trade deadline until I get that for you? Why don't you do that first?
I thought this was a more entertaining trade deadline than recent memory. I don't know what you guys thought.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I feel like just like the Sauce Gardner move on its own was like a huge trade that no one saw coming. I didn't see Quinnen Williams coming to Dallas. Just those two for prime example. And then a question that I wanted to propose to you guys is, do you guys think the trade deadline should be moved back?
I think I'm not gonna lie, it should be moved up to Thanksgiving.
I like that. I think if we push the trade deadline back, I feel like if we push the trade deadline back, we'd see a lot more trades. Like I feel like for the NFL, rental trades should be more of a thing, how it is in like baseball and basketball. Like especially because we have like 2,000 people in the league or whatever it is. We have bigger rosters. Like how are we not seeing guys on expiring contracts get traded more? You know what I mean? Like Breece Hall, prime example. Why the hell did the Jets keep Breece Hall? He doesn't want to be there.
He was so triggered. He was so triggered.
And I actually spoke to Joey about this earlier today, and I don't hate the idea. It's not like the worst thing to have it pushed back so teams have more certainty about where they're at, and they can say, okay, like this season is really gone. Like let's throw everything we got away, get a bunch of draft picks, and do our best to reset. What's my thing with that? Well, my only thing with that is I feel like a little bit of your leverage in trades come from like it being halfway through the season and not like 2/3. If you are 2/3 of the way through the season, teams are gonna know that you're you're willing to trade. You just want to get rid of these guys. You know what I mean? You can kind of, and I'm not saying like the 1-7.
That's how it is. That's how it goes in baseball, though.
Is that
baseball's like we know we're done, so we have these guys available. Meet our asking price, so we're just gonna keep them.
I understand.
I feel like it wouldn't change much in the NFL.
But the NFL's only, and I'm not saying I know with full certainty like what this would be like, but the NFL is only 17 games. Like I feel like, let's say you got 3 wins, you got 2 wins, like you're kind of shooting for like 6-10, like and that's very possible. But you also could go winless. There's just a lot more like. If you are screwed in the MLB because you're down like 30 games, like you're not coming back. You know what I mean? Like that. But if you're like the Giants right now, for instance, who didn't make a move, and we're in really bad shape. But if we're trying to finish the season with like 6 wins, like we could still try to do that. But that's not going to happen if we trade away Kayvon and it's not going to hurt if we trade away Banks and Evan Neal and stuff like that. But you understand my point.
I think that's what Joey's trying to get at, low key, is the fact that like I would think just because like in baseball, like you're trading for depth often. Usually, you're not really trading like a lot of the times being like I need this starter and yada yada yada. It's like for example, what the Eagles did, like you traded Mechie for Carter. It's like Carter might not start, but you're acquiring these depth pieces. And the reason why I like Thanksgiving is because in reality, the most important months for football. December, January, February. Like, so to me, like having that zone of like you have this whole month to thank everybody for giving you the right people to get this team ready for end of the season to get into the playoffs and playoff ball up until February. So I understand where he's coming from with that, which I agree with because like how many times have we seen teams that we're like, they get the December ball. It's colder, especially in the north, like where we at. Like, it hurts when you get tackled. Injuries happen. Things go down. And what do often teams who are playoff caliber teams mess up when it comes to injury? They don't got the depth. But if these teams were to, at least make some more trades, especially by expanding the trade deadline, I can see something. Joey, am I in the right spot? Where you coming from?
Yeah, like where I'm getting at is like I think if we move the trade deadline back, we would get a lot more clarity on teams that want to sell. Like for the Giants, for example, being 2-7, whatever their record is, like I think we would 100% see Kayvon Thibodeau traded if the trade deadline was like 3 weeks from now, and they're like just completely tanked. You know what I mean?
It would be.
And on top of that, I feel like it's a good look. It's a good way for these playoff teams acquiring these pieces to get a look at a guy in their system before they decide they want to just sign him in free agency. Like you can get a quick look at a guy, and then you can decide. It's like, hey, instead of just going into it blinded, like in free agency signing guys, you already know what they look like in your team. You already know how they gel in the locker room, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think the expiring contracts in the NFL when it comes to trade, like free agency, they should be traded more often, and I think they would be if the trade deadline was moved back just a little bit. Trey Henderson, for example, another one. I think he'd 100% get traded if it was moved 3 weeks back from now. But instead, these teams act like. But these teams won't act like they still have a chance to like contend or anything like that, and they don't make the moves.
Well,
we don't have clarity. We don't have clarity on where a lot of these teams currently sit, and that's why we don't see as many moves as we could. I think.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what I will say is like there's some teams that have like clarity. I mean, you have the Jets, the Saints, and the Titans as like the 3 teams that like know like this season's over. And then you kind of got like the next tier of like, Giants, Browns, and like, a collection of teams in there. The Commanders honestly are down there right now without Jaden Daniels and they know it's time to sell. And then you have pretty much any team that's in playoff contention, in my opinion, depending on like how old is their quarterback, right? Is their quarterback developing now? Okay, let's go all in, right? Like let's go get, maybe not all in, but like let's get someone. Like let's get better right now
get pieces
if we can. And to me, like it's gonna sound kind of weird, but like just hear me out. It's like there is like skill involved that I respect in trading halfway through the season Like, I think as a GM, you should be able to kind of forecast where your team is going to be with only, 8 games left, 9 games left. Like, you should know where your team's headed, like, with your schedule and all that kind of, like, if you're not sure, like if the Giants aren't sure that they want to trade Kayvon right now, I'm not sure what another, like, 3 or 4 losses would change their mind about, if that makes sense. Like, would there be other teams that are, like, closer to the playoffs and maybe, like, yeah, we really got to get him now. Like,
yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I feel like you would do.
Maybe, but at the same time, it's like, in that case, there would be like a lot of teams that like are trying to do it. My fear is also that like this is gonna like cause like a lot of players to just like, I'm gonna join, like, or it's not the players, but the Super Bowl favorite will like get a bunch of players because they have certainty about their roster, like they're fully healthy. Like, say the Eagles last year made a trade at like week 14, like around Thanksgiving or something like that, and like let's just say they got Quinnen Williams from the Jets or Sauce Gardner from the Jets. I think would have made more sense. I feel like that would be kind of ridiculous. Like, I would be kind of annoyed about that. But I think like you need to make these trades with some faith that your roster is actually going to get there. At least that's how the philosophy stands right now. I'm not totally opposed to this idea, but I'm not like welcoming it with open arms, if that makes any sense.
What's different between that and then allowing players to hit free agency like immediately and then getting signed to a Super Bowl contender?
You mean when guys get cut?
Yeah, like when guys get cut. I'm talking about like when like for example, like players that immediately like, no, let me get released, let me get out now. And I'm saying people have done that like past deadline, like past the trade line. I forgot who was it. Was it?
I feel like there's examples of guys you're talking about who got like, cut and joined teams. I'm pretty sure LaShawn McCoy did that.
That linebacker, Shaq Leonard to the Eagles.
Shaq Leonard did that. Yeah, Shaq Leonard. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what Eagle did that? Yeah, Shaq Leonard did that. Said like, cut me from the Colts. He left the Colts, and then we signed him past the deadline, like the trade deadline, because we thought he was going to be the piece.
Well, to me, if you cut a player, you're taking the risk that you either say you're a playoff team, you're chancing the risk that you're going to run into that guy. You're chancing the risk that, like the Giants did, he could sign with a divisional opponent. Anytime you cut or let someone go into free agency, whatever happens, the consequences are your fault. So I feel absolutely nothing like about that. I'm like, if you let someone go in the middle of the season, they better be bad. Like, they better not be good for your team, or you're going to learn that you just weren't using them right? And you were the problem. And that's a consequence you should suffer as a franchise. I think you should pay the consequences for that. But I also think, to me, it's just kind of like, I guess I'm like a traditional, like I'm traditionalist with like the NFL trade deadline. I'm like, it doesn't need to change. Like, it's perfect. It's like halfway through the season. And like, you should be able to, like I said, kind of know where you're at halfway through the year. I would say if some traumatic injury happens week 17, or like say next week, it's like, well, you could just say, what if someone gets traumatically injured the week after? Like, when do we choose when that is? There's not like a great spot. As far as like the certainty though of really good teams kind of going all in, or like bad teams like having the confidence to offload and encouraging more trades, I fully like see that. And like, I'm not saying I would be like mad if it happened. I'm just saying like, I'm not sure it's necessary. I like football. Like the way it's set up right now, I feel like it's mostly pretty good. I'm not sure what the real effect would be if it kind of went towards that NBA or MLB kind of style. So at least that's
I think it response. I think it would make like the whole playoff slate stronger by making it even. Like, if everyone can still make moves that they have a good idea now when they're going to make the playoffs, I feel like it just make an overall better product, while these bad teams are getting more valuable assets by trading these guys away than just letting them walk,
Well, yeah, and I get where you're coming from like the Cowboys perspective, because it's like, listen, like we haven't really talked about it like so deeply, but like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, Jerry Jones kind of eating with that concept, because I can't lie, right? These dudes got like 3 first-round picks. Now they get to keep 2, and got Quinnen Williams and a Kenny Clark. So it's like, I understand where Joey's coming from, because in reality, right here, right now, if the Cowboys say they waited till like the Thanksgiving, I guess, to make this trade deadline, like, I don't even know who else they could get, but you got 2 more first round picks that you could make magic happen to do something this year, or you could just what's it called? Sell one more, have 2 first round picks next year, and acquire some other like big star like defensive end. Like I know what Bradley Chubb is, and I know getting offered right now from the Dolphins. Crosby's been talked about beforehand. Garrett's been talked about before. Minka's been talked about beforehand. Like, so.
So my question is this like, all right, so teams are like 7-2 right now, like are very sure they're gonna make the playoffs. Teams that are 6-3 are pretty sure, and then teams that are either 5-3 or 5-4 are kind of not so sure. What's different if the team is like 9-3 or 10-4, compared to like 7-2, 6-2? Like you're still like it could still change like that. You know what I mean? You could still lose 3 straight and finish 10-7, even if you do make a trade, just because the NFL is just like that. So I guess it's like, yeah, you're going to be like more sure from like, but it's not like there isn't other teams battling until week 17 to get into the playoffs.
This isn't more about like these good teams, more about these teams that are actually not going to make it. Yeah, being able to like make moves because they are not willing to do it right now this week.
Yeah.
Also,
Dolphins should have sold more guys this week.
I agree.
The Giants,
the Dolphins and Giants should have done more. I agree. But
Browns could have sold things like that.
Those head coaches are in save their job mode.
Commanders should have sold everybody they had. They're done. I mean, why is Debo still there? They should have traded away all those old heads that they have.
Yeah.
Like, that's like
trade Bobby Wagner somewhere. That could have been something for them or whatever. But I also look at it, for example, on the I guess the opposite side, like for the really good team. So say you go and trade, you're in the like you mentioned before, Scott, like the comfortable spot, like we're most likely gonna make the playoffs or whatever. It's like those teams that do make that trade and say for some on some caveat ish, like they don't make the playoffs. It kind of then really shows you what like you invested all in for this quarterback, for this running back, for this, for that, and then you don't make it.
You'll pay consequences for years.
100%, they'll pay consequences for years. That's like the caveat, I guess, of it too. But also like you like for example, your quarterback situation, your running back situation, your coaching situation, those things get highlighted a lot brighter when you invest so heavy by extending that trade deadline. I feel like that you really know for the next couple of years, we got to get rid of this, we got to fix this, and we got to fix that. Like, I guess it really kind of shows.
You could kind of say it about the Cowboys right now too, though. Cowboys are 3-5-1, and they made. I mean, let's just imagine they were 5-5, right? If they missed the playoffs, making all these moves, going 5-5, typically it's not, Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson that you're like signing or trading for, but. If this doesn't work, if their defense doesn't improve from these 2 guys being there, which I highly doubt. But let's just say the team doesn't really play that much better. Like, yeah, they're gonna like kind of pay for it because they could have just used those picks on dudes that were like 20, 22 years old, and that could have helped them 10 years into the future. But we know the Cowboys are operating in like this 3 to 5 year window right now. Like I do get that. I see the
window is Dak.
Yeah, the window is Dak.
The window is Dak. But the trades that Dallas made have nothing to do with this year. It's all about next year, and I could tell you that for a fact because they traded away whatever pick's going to be higher next year to the Jets for Quinnen Williams, and I would make that trade 100 times out of 100 like chances. Like getting a guy like Quinnen Williams, that's what Dallas has been trying to get for years now. All those day 3 picks that they traded for D tackles that failed. All the veteran D tackles they brought in that failed, all the draft capital they invested in D tackle that failed. Now they finally have a guy. So I think that's something that you can finally cross off the list for Dallas, D tackle. So I feel good about that. And they're in a good spot with the cap. So I think they're going all in for next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a big get for them. And yeah, someone asked me in the comments, no Patriots on my list? Nope. They just barely missed. They're an honorable mention. Joey, you can't see, but Dan has them at 4.
Scott, it's terrible, dude.
I don't think it's terrible.
Scott,
To be honest, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible at all. But like, can we just get through your list and then you can ask me whatever questions you want. I have it on the screen right here. I'm ready to blow it up. And then
you left the 7-2 team off your top 10, man. Like that's kind of like disgusting.
Yeah, Joe, you should ask me the same question you asked me last week when I didn't have the Bucks, bro.
Yeah, who have they beat besides the Bills? They beat the Falcons. They beat the Falcons because they missed an extra point. I mean,
so my thing with that game is like we saw Drake May have the turnovers. They're making these mistakes. They're a young team, and what happened? They still won. That's the floor. They still win. Yeah, two turnovers, still win a football game. That's all I need to see. Anyway, going to my list.
Yeah.
Scott, are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it. I don't have the blank. I don't have the blanks on it, so everyone can see the whole thing.
Number 10, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks. Me and you were on the same page, Scott.
Yeah.
You know, the Mike Evans thing's a big problem. I don't really know what to think with Chris Godwin because the reporting around him has been super weird. Like, some people say he's out for the season. Other people say he could be back next week. I don't really know what to believe. I wish I had an answer because I currently roster him in fantasy in a couple of different leagues. So it would be nice to get an answer on that. But, you know, the injuries that they've endured were pretty big. I still like Baker. I like the offense. I like some of the replacement players they have. I just don't know if they can be as dominant without, you know, the stars at receiver. So I got them at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a dominant showing against the Colts. We saw Daniel Jones turn into a pumpkin. But I think, as we said, it was a good culture. I mean, these good teams need to lose. Danny said that before about the Eagles, how the Eagles needed that loss against like the Giants to change the culture.
Yeah.
Or this should like remind them that they can get got. So I think that was a good loss for the Colts, especially like it was a good Steelers win. So I'm fine with it. I don't expect Daniel Jones to turn the ball over like 5 times every week. I think, you know, they run through Jonathan Taylor. The O-line's still the nastiest in the league. So I'm kind of like, that didn't change my thoughts at all on the Colts. It just made me respect the Steelers a little bit more as they haven't been on my top 10 list in recent weeks.
All right. Number 8,
I got the Denver Broncos. I still like the Broncos. They don't have Patrick Surtain right now. As we know, the Texans' defense is nasty. They gave Bo Nix a hard time, but they still found a way to get the W, so I'll give them credit there. But, you know, the offense is definitely – against good defenses, you could beat the Broncos pretty easily, I think, because their offense is kind of handicapped. Bo Nix is he's kind of like one of the most polarizing players in the league. I feel like it's all fugazi. I don't think he's actually that good.
Okay.
But Sean Payton makes him look good with the offenses that he calls. Like he rarely throws the ball downfield. That's like his thing. He's the check down merchant is what he is.
Yep. There's a lot of ways people look at that dynamic between that coach and quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton carries them, but they have an elite defense. Little banged up right now, but I still really like the defense. But you know, there were rumors earlier today, Jalen Waddle to Denver. I would have loved to see that. I think that's someone that the Denver Broncos needed, and I really think that could help make them a complete team because they were missing. Like you compared them to Seattle. I heard you compare them to Seattle earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have their JSN, so that's kind of like the biggest missing piece that they have. I think. Yeah. So they got a pretty solid line. They got a good RB duo. It's just the receivers, the playmakers they don't really have. I feel like Troy Franklin's been playing an elevated role all year. Don't really think he belongs there. But I would like to see more of Pat. What's his name? Pat, the receiver they got?
Pat Bryant.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see more Pat Bryant. He seems talented. I just got to find a way to get him the ball more, get him some targets. But for now, I'll keep him at 8. I don't think I changed where I think I moved him up maybe 1 spot from last week. But number 7. I got my New England Patriots. I think I've evened out my rankings over the last few weeks, and I had them as high as 2. They probably belong around the 4 to 7 rank, I think. You know, we already kind of covered them. We talked about Drake May. He had 2 turnovers, and they still found a way to win the game, so I'm going to give him credit there. And that's the the floor with Drake May. I can't wait to see what the ceiling is with this offense because it's just like everything about it is just untapped potential. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Number 6.
Number 6, I got the Detroit Lions. I was very uninspired by their loss to the Vikings. I did not see that coming.
Agreed.
The Vikings are, they are a better team than what they've showed us on paper. They had Carson Wentz. That was an easy trap game. Good win for the Vikings. But I definitely think when it's all said and done, we could see all 4 NFC North teams in the playoffs.
That would be crazy.
That'd be something to watch out for. Yeah, I think that's like a real possibility. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings go on a little run, depending on how J.J. McCarthy continues to develop and look in the offense. But just an ugly loss for the Lions. I had to drop them a little bit.
Number 5.
Number 5, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a at 5. I think this is a justified ranking for them because their defense is so nasty. Pair that with JSN and Sam Darnold, what they're doing on offense. We saw he was like 14 for 14. The first half against the Commanders completely obliterated them. Just fucking, it was a boat raced them in the first half. How about that? I love everything about Seattle. Their defense, they have the highest pressure rate, rushing 4 in the NFL. I think that's an important stat to look at. And that just means that they can just drop set. Like it's just going to be a headache playing Seattle, I think, down stretch. I think they match up well against the Rams. That's the game I want to see. And I want to see the next game for them. But for now, I got them at 5.
Number 4.
Number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Lost to the Bills. We kind of already covered all that. Kind of expected it. Bills love to beat them in the regular season and then choke against them in the playoffs. Not much else to be said about that.
All right. Number 3, Bills.
Number three, I put the Bills because they beat the Chiefs, but obviously I don't believe in them. I think the Patriots are better. I think the Bills should be 7. The Patriots should be 3. But just for this week, I'm going to give the Bills fans what they want to see. Just know I don't actually believe in it.
I love your approach to the list creation. Number 2.
Number 2, I got the Rams. They look like one of the best overall teams in football. Stafford looks like an MVP candidate. Puka, I think, is probably the best receiver in football now, which is kind of crazy to say. But when you watch him play on Sunday, how do you deny it? He's just like, he does everything you want. He's such a playmaker. The only thing with him is that he gets injured every week he plays. That's the thing he needs to figure out. He needs to start drinking his milk. But for number 2, I got the LA Rams.
Number 1.
Number 1, I kept the Colts here, and that is strictly because they traded for Sauce Gardner. I think their secondary now is disgusting. Once they get what's his name back? Once they get Ward back off the IR with him, Kenny Moore, Sauce Gardner, this defense is going to be a force. I think they continue to
Various Ward and freaking Sauce. I was telling Scott this earlier how they beef with each other like
on Twitter after
heavy.
The Niners lost.
Yeah, on Twitter, literally right after the freaking Niners lost to the Chiefs in the regular season or some shit like that. Like, you think that's gonna work out well?
I don't recall that. I think they'll be fine. But what I did see was a clip of like Sauce Gardner trashing Daniel Jones last year. Now they're teammates, so that's something.
Yeah, that's even funnier.
He was shitting on Daniel Jones, and now that they're teammates. That's something to look at. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a tremendous risk for the Colts to move off of their top 2 first-round picks for this guy. Jets fans will tell you that Brandon Stevens has been their best corner this year. Sauce Gardner's kind of fell off. I don't really know. I mean, I like Sauce Gardner, but I'm interested to see what he looks like with the Colts. I think that's a huge move. Betting the farm on Daniel Jones is a choice, and I overall like the team, but I don't know. The floor is very low here compared to the ceiling, which is like something to consider. But right now, I got them as my number 1 team. We'll see how that holds up.
All right. So that is all 3 of our top 10 lists. We are pushing an hour and 50 minutes. So as much as we talked about today, it is time for us to wrap this up. And
what did you guys talk about the first?
We talked about the trade deadline for like the first 45 minutes. But
we had a couple tangents, but it's all good.
Yeah, I would love to, like I said, delineate more, but there is unfortunately something that I've got to attend to, and I'm sure you guys have some other things, like possibly sleeping. That's not what it is for me, but that stuff's usually pretty good to get. So I want to tell everyone who's watching, thank you so much for watching this extra special Tuesday top 10 video of the NFC East podcast, where we covered the NFL trade deadline, our reactions to it, and things of that nature, along with giving you our week 10 top 10s. So if you did enjoy the video, leave a like, go subscribe to Debate with Dan, link in the description. And other than that, like I said, you can subscribe to me too. You should see it right there. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. Click the button. But if you don't, that's fine. You could just watch. That's what I'm here for. But I want to thank you all again. And this was an exciting week. I can't wait to do the picks, hopefully this Friday. And other than that, I got nothing else. Dan, you got anything?
I appreciate you guys for showing up and showing out, guys. You know what I'm saying? We do it for the love of the game.
That's
we love it. We mess with it. And we here with it. So keep rolling. Keep rocking. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Joey?
The Eagles are fraudulent. Don't believe any of the hype Danny tries to tell you. They're not going anywhere. They acquired 3 bums, and just keep that in mind. We are back to the NFC East.
All right, guys. Enjoy your week 10 previews.